WCIA3 Plus. With Taylor Mitchell. This is Chat with the Chief.
As a daughter of a law enforcement officer, I know how important it is to get to know our community leaders. And today, I am joined by the Macon County Sheriff, Jim Root. Thanks for being with us this morning, coming all the way down to Champaign.
It's not a bad drive.
Okay, good. That's what I was hoping.
A little bit of construction I wasn't aware of.
Isn't it never ending?
It is.
It's just, I can't get over it. It's just been probably one of the most annoying things so far, being in Champaign. It's just like ever since I got here, that's just been, construction has been everywhere. Okay, well, very excited to have you here. We want to talk a little bit more about your background. You're about 29 years in law enforcement. That is a long time. So kind of bring us back to the beginning, your childhood. You grew up in Decatur.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Decatur, and the inner city. I went to public schools. My neighborhood was very secluded to some of the surroundings because it was had a border with a railroad track and a highway. So it's kind of was one of those neighborhoods that was isolated from some of the people coming into it. So I kind of had a very nice neighborhood. We were well knit, tight-knit neighborhood. Back in the days where if you went down the street and you did something you shouldn't have done, and those neighbors told your parents, in addition to probably discipline you themselves, they would tell your parents, and you'd get it twice. So, but sometimes those things doesn't really ferment to a young child. So,
right.
I made my mistakes in life and kind of built upon that, and then at some point I understood that I was probably going in the wrong direction, and a friend of mine kind of talked me into going in the military. So what I did was I really made my parents mad. I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
While I was in high school, I hadn't even graduated high school. They wanted me to go to college, and I was like I said, I wasn't academically sound when it comes to that. It would have been a waste of money. And at some point, I went ahead and joined while they were out of town.
No.
They came back and they found out that my dad was in the military. He was in the Army when during his younger days, and he didn't really recommend it and didn't want me to do it, and they really didn't have a choice. They didn't have to sign for anything because it was a program where you delayed entry in and you actually left when you become an adult. So when I graduated high school, I graduated in early June, and by the 14th of July, I left for boot camp.
Oh, man. So what were your parents' reaction to you just saying, "I'm out, see you later"?
Like I said, they were kind of disappointed that I chose this path and didn't go to college, but it was something I needed to do.
Yeah.
Just to get the discipline and the tools that I needed to put my life in a direction that I needed to go.
Did you always know you wanted to go into law enforcement?
No, actually, that came when I was in the military. My MOS was field artillery, and then I got assigned to a camp guard unit when I was in Okinawa, Japan, and
wow.
We basically were the law enforcement for the base.
Wow.
We had a few MPs, mostly assigned to colonels and generals, so it was one of those bases where they didn't need a lot of police because there was officers, and the officers have more at stake than the enlisted, and enlisted people tend to need to be controlled a little bit. But I got my taste of that and some of the things associated with law enforcement. And when I got out, I took a couple jobs doing construction work. Finally, I got a job at Clinton Power Station, nuclear security, for a company up there, and then decided once I was there for a few years, I have college paid for in the state of Illinois, being a veteran. So I went to the local community college, Richland, and got my associate's degree in law enforcement.
Good for you. You were in the military for about 4 years, you said?
Yep. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years.
And where'd you go?
First, I went to boot camp in San Diego, and then my first duty station was Okinawa, Japan.
Wow.
For a year. And it was one of it was one of those, you leave home and then you
very different.
Well, the thing with it is in the late 80s, you didn't have access to the internet like you do now. You didn't have texting. You didn't have social media. So you didn't keep, the only way of keeping in touch with, the people back home was writing letters, and occasionally you spend a $15, $20 on a phone call for 15 minutes, and just to hear voices of the people that your family. So it was a little rough, but like I said, you build relationships in the military that are there forever.
So do you see some of the experiences and skills that you learned there translate into your role today?
Not necessarily, because in the military the rules are different.
Okay.
The Uniform Code of Military Justice is a little swifter than the justice system that we have in the civilian world. Some of the rules don't apply, but it was definitely one that keeps you in line, and you don't want to get yourself in trouble in the military. It's just not worth it. I've seen a lot of people that got in trouble, but I don't know why. Me, I like to follow the rules, and if there's a rule that I like to follow it. I like to follow the law and do the things that's right for my profession.
So when you got back home, you went straight to the sheriff, or you said you worked in construction for a little bit.
Yeah, I worked in construction, and then I went into security, and then I ended up, I had a.
You had that itch.
There's things in life that you don't necessarily understand why they happen, but you just kind of roll with it. And a lot of times and I kind of have a saying that the easy path in life is not necessarily the right path. So some of those harder things in life and those decisions that you make are based upon, some people like to take the easy path. And I'm not one to do that because, like I said, the military gave me some tools that I need. And, I'm a hard worker, and I don't mind doing the work. And sometimes those easy paths in life are more fulfilling than the easy path. So when I first got out, like I said, I did some construction jobs, and then I got a job doing nuclear security, and then I decided I was going to go to college. After I graduated college, I was going to go to a 4-year university. I got married, had a kid, and I was trying to juggle a job, go to college, and family life. And I that ended up in a failed marriage, and then I became a single parent, and worked at Firestone. I worked at a factory for about 65 days before we went on strike. And when we went on strike, I'm out there on the picket line, and I'm listening to all my union members saying, "Yeah, we're gonna, when this is over, we'll get a good deal, and then, if that doesn't happen, we'll end up putting the company out of business here."
Wow.
Well, that's not something that being a person that's fulfilling, trying to raise a kid, is not something I want to continue to do. I don't want to be on the picket line every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I want a job to where I go to work, I come home, I do the things I need to do. So that's when I applied for the sheriff's office, and it was very fulfilling, and like I said, it was definitely a road that I really wanted to go down.
That's awesome. And talk a little bit about your positions at the Macon County Sheriff's Office. I mean, the list goes on and on. You did patrol division, narcotics, assigned to the Illinois State Police Drug Task Force, investigations division. And what sticks out to you there?
Well, the narcotics work that I did, because when I got the position in the state police task force, Roger Walker, who was the sheriff at the time, seen something in me that he definitely liked. There was a few other people that stepped in those shoes that didn't quite meet up his expectations, and eventually I made it into that position and just ran with it. I worked cases. I had hair, so the bald. I haven't had a haircut since 2000.
Oh my goodness!
So 2000 is the last haircut I had. So I did at one time have hair down the middle of my back.
No,
yeah.
I can't see that.
I looked like, and I would go to family reunions and people wouldn't recognize me.
Oh my goodness!
But that's fine. I'm like, all right, and but that comes with the territory. They gave me all the jobs in the task force that nobody else would do. They would send me up to houses that they couldn't get into, to knock on doors and get into the environment, because of the way I looked. So they put me in some very unique positions, and there's a couple of them that stick out.
Yeah. Can you share any?
Absolutely. There was one where we had a search warrant for a house, and they said, well, she always brings the drugs to the front door. What we're going to do is you're going to knock on the door. You're going to start the purchase of drugs, and then we're going to come in with the SWAT team right behind you. So I'm standing in what's enclosed porch of this house, buying a couple of $20 crack rocks, and the team comes in behind me. And this is a very narrow porch. And as I got in there, I noticed that there's not a lot of room for the team to come in. So what typically happens is I threw the lady down on the ground and I covered her up, because I knew that she was going to get stepped on.
Oh.
I have a responsibility to protect everybody, so I prevented her from getting stepped on. I got stepped on, but I was expecting it. So, and it's better that I would get hurt than somebody that were using force, and we didn't want to use force on. So after the team got done, they secured both of us. Me like a person buying rocks, mm-hmm. And then she points at me and says, "That's his drugs," because it was on the ground. And
She threw you under the bus.
She threw me under the bus. So they took her to jail, put her in an interview, or took her into the station, put her in the interview room, and they handcuffed me, but they let me go right away. And then when they started interviewing her, I stepped into the room and I just introduced myself as Inspector Jim Root with the Illinois State Police Task Force.
Oh man, that must have been so good to see that reaction.
And then she, of course, she accused me of planting the drugs there. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
If I would have had a body camera, something like that, it would have been a little bit more. But
oh man,
those are the things that kind of stick out. Those types of minutes in life are the ones that you tell stories about. And people are like, I can't believe you did that.
Right, and I'm imagining all of this with the long hair you said?
Yeah, with the long hair.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, that's a pretty funny story. I love that. Well, I think it is going to be a great time to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to him a little bit more about what he's doing at the Macon County Sheriff's Office right now. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Chat with the Chief. I'm your host, Taylor Mitchell. Again, we are joined by the Macon County Sheriff, Jim Root. It's been so enjoyable to get to know you. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing at the Sheriff's Office right now. And then also, I do want to touch on you being an instructor at the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center, what that is and what you do.
Okay.
So all of the questions at once. No, I'm just kidding.
Where do you want to start?
Whatever you want to start. Okay, let's talk about you being an instructor and what that is and what you do there.
So when the academy opened in 2018, I had the opportunity to apply and become a part-time instructor. And I've actually been a firearms instructor. I was a firearms rifle instructor in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So I got my background in teaching firearms from the Marine Corps when I was in there for going on the rifle range. But when I got to the sheriff's office, I became an instructor for firearms. Early 2007, 2008, and then kind of built my instructor credentials and stuff through actually the University of Illinois Police Training Institute, master firearms instructor with accredited to them. And I just wanted to continue to train the future of law enforcement. So it's fulfilling. Definitely, if you get to know some of the newer generations of students, some of them can be challenging.
Right.
But with patience, you can develop this person into a great law enforcement officer, and hopefully they'll have a long, fulfilling careers. And I tell each one of them at the end, I said, I hope that you have a long career and are safe.
And safe, absolutely. What's been the most challenging part of that?
Well, I mean, you do get some challenging students, especially when you're talking firearms. Safety is one of the main things. One, we don't want somebody getting injured on the range, and if somebody's just unsafe, it's definitely a red flag for, they're carrying guns all the time. So you want to make sure that they're safe and that they can do it safely.
Definitely. Let's talk a little bit about what the Macon County Sheriff's Office is doing right now. Do you guys have any new programs or anything new going on?
No. A couple years ago, we got recognized for our accreditation in forensics. We have one of the a part-time employees, national recognized fingerprint analysis person. He does a little bit of facial recognition. He's definitely an asset. He's taught some of our staff how to do fingerprints, and hopefully we can build upon this program and do the things that we need to do to clear cases.
Definitely. So just upholding that same.
Well, I mean, there's new technologies coming out every year. Everything is expensive. Trying to keep the cost associated with some of the technology is somewhat challenging. We've got to replace every one of our computers, by the October of this year, because, being criminal justice authority compliant with computer systems is a requirement. So we have to be at a certain level of capabilities with computers to be able to move into the security and everything that we need for that. But like I said, technology is expensive, and staying within the budget sometimes is challenging. But I've been very successful at staying in my budget.
That's very good. That's a good skill to have for the
Yeah,
sheriff.
yeah, especially when you paint something tactical black and they want to charge you extra money for it. So
That's so true.
it is so true.
Any top crime concerns you're hearing from residents? I know you said violence is a big one.
Yeah, violence is a big one, and then we always get these alerts, or we get public information out on scams. We get so many scams, and I get them. I mean, I answer them on my phone, and if I can answer them on my phone and keep them occupied for 15, 20 minutes, maybe that's not another one. Now I'll just sit there in my office and I'll be typing, doing stuff, and I'll be listening and talking to these people. And
I've seen so many of those videos.
I actually recorded a few of them for presentations that I do. They're getting very elaborate. They send you text to your phone to say this is this, and I'm with Verizon. There's
using AI too.
They're using AI. I had one just about a month ago, and I thought it was legitimate, and I'm like, something's not right here. And then I hear this rooster in the background. I'm like, a rooster, and I'm like, what is going on here? And I said, ma'am, was that a rooster? She says, no, I'm in a business building, and then I hear the rooster again, and she hangs up.
Oh my goodness. That is crazy.
I know.
So people who come into contact with these scammers, what's your advice?
Well, here's the thing. If somebody calls you and say, yes, we're checking on your account, just ask them, what is my name? Because most of the time they don't know your name. And what is my account number? If they say we're checking on your account, then they should have your account number and your information, and they should be able to tell that. You get these when you call like the bank and you say I want to get a balance on my account. There's some security challenges, right?
Right.
You should do the same thing for these people that are calling. All right, you're calling about my garbage service. Okay, what's my account number? It's not that I'm going to remember my account number, but if they can't tell me the account number and the address, the phone number, and everything associated with the account, then don't provide them with any information.
Right. And one of your most recent scams from last month, someone was calling pretending to be a deputy at the sheriff's office.
Yes.
What was that about?
Well, people call and they say, well, you've got a warrant, and we need you to pay this money so that we can so you can bond out. And then what they'll do is, and I get people that'll call and I'll say, well, tell them that you'll meet them somewhere, and I will come with you, and we'll make an arrest on it.
Yeah.
And it never happens. I followed a guy around. I had about 3 or 4 people that we followed. My detectives. This guy was getting scammed. He had already got scammed for some money, and we followed him around. They bounced him from one place to another, and we're like, all right, maybe they're following him. Then they wanted him to, submit it electronically, and we're not doing that.
That's crazy.
But most of these are done remote. They'll never meet with you. So if you get somebody that calls and says, hey, go buy these cards, and I want you to, send that money through a cash app or something, just hang up on them.
Goodness, I feel so
legitimate businesses don't do business that way.
Right.
Just hang up on them and tell them never call again.
Before we had to break, I want to ask you, school's coming up right around the corner. Any tips on, going back to school?
Well, all my kids are grown, so I don't have a whole lot of tips for school kids.
For school safety.
Yeah, school safety. Definitely make sure your kids are safe getting to and from the bus. If they ride a bus, we've had an indicator. We've had bus accidents that's happened. Make sure that your children know how to cross that they wait for the bus to stop, the arm to come out before they even try to cross the road. We definitely want to make sure that they're getting out and safe onto the bus. And if they're walking home from school, make sure that they're going with kids that are able to provide them with guidance to get to and from.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, we're going to take one more break here. When we come back, we're going to have final thoughts from Sheriff Root. All right, welcome back to Chat with the Chief. Final thoughts and moments with Macon County Sheriff Root. You have a couple of shout-outs you want to give.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to. The staff I have at the Sheriff's Office is wonderful. They're community service minded. I've had probably in the time that I've been sheriff, I've probably given 15 or 20 life-saving awards.
Wow.
Majority of it happens in our jail. We get inmates that are, suicidal. They attempt suicide. We have, have the ability, and we provide them with, training to be able to identify and people that attempt this. And we, those are the real heroes of the Sheriff's Office. I've had, people in the admin side, which is administrative, records clerks or administrative assistants, and her husband, we gave them a life-saving award. They were just running down the road, jogging one morning and come across somebody that had attempted suicide. Got medical attention, applied direct pressure, and saved that person's life. So those are the men and women that are real heroes. Are the ones that are out there on the on the street doing the hard things, and whether it's giving somebody Narcan saving somebody in the jail that has attempted suicide, or coming across somebody in need while you're doing your morning run. It's really, really fulfilling that I have that kind of staff to do that.
Sounds like you're very proud.
I am very proud.
Well, you know what? Thank you so much for coming all the way to Champaign to talk with us.
It's
always
always
so much fun.
It's always a pleasure to
Good.
interact with the media.
Good.
Not always a good one sometimes, but
Yes.
these positive ones are the ones that are
Keep you going.
definitely keep you going every day, and want to make one more day out of this. And like I said, everybody says, well, how old are you? I'm like, I'm in my prime.
I love it. I love it. Keep that attitude. Awesome. Thank you so much again, Sheriff Root. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Well, coming up next week, we're going to have another special guest with our Chat with the Chief. Thanks for joining us. I'm Taylor Mitchell.